Hello, and welcome to this Cyber in a Box presentation on biometric authentication, questions and considerations. This Cyber in a Box library program presentation is brought to you through the cooperation of your local library, the Wyoming Cybersecurity Action Network Committee, and our partner organizations. Biometrics involves the measurement of a person's physical characteristics. Because these are unique to each individual, they can be used to authenticate a person's identity. While almost any physical characteristic can be used, the most commonly used characteristics are voice or voice prints, fingerprints, facial recognition, and eye retinal scans. Because biometrics are easy to use, biometric authentication is increasingly being offered as an alternative for accessing digital devices and online sites. Biometric authentication is often presented as being more secure than passwords. While it's true biometric data can accurately validate an individual's identity, there are some significant points you need to consider before deciding to use biometric authentication. Consideration number one is that biometric authentication is not perfect. Mechanisms for defeating biometric authentication already exist. Some examples of past exploits include in 2014, a hacker meeting in Germany demonstrated the ability to extract the fingerprints of the German defense minister from high definition photographs and to use these to bypass biometric authentication controls. The US Office of Personnel Management was hacked in 2015, and the cybercriminals made off with the fingerprints of 5.6 million government employees, leaving them vulnerable to identity theft. And in March of 2023, deepfake technologies were used to create voices that were able to pass the voice authentication controls on customer service systems used by the Australian Tax Office. Deepfakes are technologies which create near perfect digital representations of human characteristics such as fingerprints, voice, and facial characteristics. As we can see here, the ability to create deepfakes is widely available. Many companies are aggressively pursuing improvements in deepfake technologies as they present significant opportunities for profit. As is often the case, these technological capabilities have far outpaced the creation of the legal controls and protections necessary to prevent inappropriate use. Consideration number two is, what can you do in the event your biometric authentication data is stolen, copied, faked, or otherwise compromised? For passwords or security tokens, the accepted process for dealing with a compromise is to revoke and replace the information. For example, changing a disclosed password or replacing a stolen token. However, this doesn't work for biometric data because, by definition, biometric characteristics are extremely difficult, if not impossible, to change. While this is often cited as being one of the greatest strengths of biometric authentication, in the event of a compromise, it can also be a weakness. So let's say your voice print is stolen. In other words, somebody made a recording of it, or it's faked. Once you discover that it's been compromised, what are your options for protecting yourself? Can you change your voice? It's a good idea to understand how an organization will respond in the event biometric authentication data is compromised. Consideration number three involves the protection against self-incrimination provided by the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. In the United States, the Fifth Amendment protects the person from being compelled to be a witness against themselves in any criminal case. How this protection extends to biometric authentication data has not yet been formally determined. For the most part, it appears courts are upholding Fifth Amendment protection, preventing a person from being compelled to provide authorities with passwords and PINs. However, courts have generally not extended that same protection to biometric authentication data. This means authorities can compel you to provide or use your fingerprints, your voice prints, facial characteristics, etc., to access your digital devices or online sites. They can also use any biometric data they've collected previously, such as fingerprints they may have on file. Each person needs to determine how important this is to their life. In any case, it is something that needs to be taken into consideration. So here are our recommendations when considering the use of biometric authentication. As with anything related to the protection of your data, always think about the trade-off between convenience and risk. For example, using your voice to access your video subscription service, probably not a big idea, probably not a big deal. Allowing your voice to be used to obtain full access to all your money in your bank, maybe not such a good idea. Using a second form of authentication, like a PIN, a password, or a security token, can help significantly reduce the risk to critical or valuable data. This is a good practice to use with all devices and systems you log into. Keep in mind that the quality and availability of creating deep fakes will continue to increase. This means biometric authentication will continue to become more vulnerable to attacks. Also, be aware that deepfakes can be used for scams. One scam currently in use today is to create a deep fake of a person's voice and leave a message on a family member's phone saying that they've been in an accident, they're in jail, and they need money to be sent to them right away. And finally, always remember the ultimate rule of security. Despite what may be said or how things are marketed, there never has been, there never will be, and there never can be a security control mechanism which works perfectly and completely with absolutely no chance of ever being hacked or bypassed. The best approach is to be aware of potential risks, understand the value of your data, and make conscious, informed decisions on how to find the appropriate balance between easy and safe. Here are some of the many sources available for additional information. Thank you for attending this Cyber in a Box Library program presentation. To see additional presentations or to learn more about good security practices, please visit us at www.wyocan.org.